Challenge Bamber Gascoigne has died at the age of 87. We can talk to Bobby Seagull, maths teacher and writer who appeared on University Challenge himself in 2017. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. How do you see Bamber Gascoigne?
So when we think about the UK and our great cultural exports, we think of, like, let's say, Wimbledon, the Beatles, the Queen, our discussion about the weather. But I think quiz shows are something that we should be very proud of as a nation. And if you think about our great game show hosts, I think that Bamber sits right at the top because we produce the likes of Bob Holness, Anne Robinson, Bradley Walsh, even our own Jeremy Paxman now. But literally, I think at the pinnacle, the godfather of quizzing is Bamber Gascoigne.
And the quiz show hosts that you've mentioned there are all very different. You know, they've all got very specific characteristics. What is it about Bamber Gascoigne that stands out for you?
So I think nowadays there can be a tendency for quiz hosts to be sometimes quite confrontational. You're getting into an adversarial battle. With Bamber, what stood him out was the fact that he was this gentleman, he was scholarly, he had this gentle erudition about him. And it meant that when students would approach this cauldron of University Challenge, answering questions on geography, history, science, he would be there to sort of make you reach your potential. And I think one lovely fact I heard on a documentary at Bamber is that he had this, this omniscience that he knew everything. And partly there's a reason behind this, because before every episode, he would look through the question cards and make little annotations or notes on things. For example, if there's a question where the answer would have been the poet Shelley, and we know that Shelley died in 1822, he'd written down in his notes, oh, Keats died in 1821. So the team went for Keats by mistake. He'd go, oh, I can see why you were thinking Keats, because that was 1 year apart from Shelley. So he was someone that really put everything into the role.
Yeah, and how knowledgeable was he then? Because, I mean, obviously, you know, if you've got the answers written down, you can go through and you can work stuff out. But what was his background? I mean, what were his real strengths?
Yes, and I think it's a combination of two. Because again, as a teacher, your job, sometimes you do need to be a bit stern. You know, the students aren't getting on the work. Like, come on, get on with it. Hurry up. And he had those trademark phrases. But I think it's that marriage of being really gentle and warm, because it can be an intimidating quiz show. I went on it. I've done many things in my career, but when you're sitting in that chair with the lights, knowing that the nation's going to be watching you on a Monday night, it can feel like a grilling. But his job was, he thought, let me try and get the best out of these young students. But again, we talked about the level of knowledge he brought, because again, as a game show host, you can just think, oh, I've got some questions to read and just read it out. But he really sort of embedded himself in the role. And again, later on, he went on to write his own encyclopedia. So for him, he was this fountain of knowledge. And again, he may not have known everything, but he gave off this aura that knowledge flowed through his veins and his voice.
Thank you very much for joining us. Bobby Seagull paying tribute to Bamber Gascoigne.